You show up at blank canvases, and the next thing you know, there's balloons and decorations everywhere, and it's like bright and colorful and fun, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Like you take a white tent and you make it really cool to be in. Hi everyone, welcome to our very first My Event show. I have one of our favorite party partners, Leticia, with me. Hi. Leticia is with Agape Balloons and Events, and she's one of my favorite people because the very beginning of starting things, we got a call from Leticia, and she's like, hi, can you help me with a Halloween party? I really need a photo booth. And I was just like, whoa, she has a ton of energy. And like, I needed that so bad at that time. And I was like, yeah, we can help you. Like, what do you want? And she's like, I need one of those photo booths with like the ring light. And I just need the one that like does the text and boomerangs. I'm like, sweet, you already know what we have. That's easy. And I think like the event was that week. And we made it work. It was a ton of fun. I got there. There was like a big picnic tent with the Detroit Picnic Company. Did they set that up or did you?
To be honest with you, I cannot remember what we did for that.
Your sister set it up.
My sister set it up. She did.
Yeah.
She did. And I don't know if you remember, but we were probably on the phone for like 2-3 hours.
I wouldn't forget. Yeah.
It was like our first time talking, and we talked for 2-3 hours, and
Yeah.
that's just because we just feed off each other's energy.
Yeah.
It's like you start, and then I go, and then you go, and I go.
Yeah.
We had so much fun on the phone, and from that moment I knew, I was like, she's in my circle.
I think I was only doing maybe 2 to 3 months into events, and Bill was like my only person I could go to for like advice and any sort of like feedback. And then I met you, and I'd say you were like one of my first like frienders as well, because suddenly I'm like, wait, like we talked for 2 to 3 hours, probably because I also could finally be like, I have ideas and I have things. Yeah, and like you cared, which makes a big difference too, because I'd worked with people up to that point, and like it's like always about our customers and what we want to deliver. But like I actually felt like we could get to know each other and relate. So,
and I think both of us just have like so many ideas in our brain, and we just need to share it. And I'm like, could you just help me with this idea and help me develop this idea? Like, I know you hear it now. Like, how can you encourage me to do it? And I think I've always loved that about you, because I'll bring something and be like, oh, well, you can kind of do it like this and do it like this, and I'm like, huh, that's a great idea. And I've always like I think that's just a great quality, and not only a vendor, but in a friend. And just a partner.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. That meant a lot, and you have the same.
I complimented her. She didn't like that.
I know. That's so true. I have the hardest time being complimented, but I'll give people a million. But it's like when I hear it, it's like I like to slow down and feel the compliments as well, and kind of repeat them a few times to myself just to register like, hey, like, you know, it's nice when people think nice things about you, and it's good to remember them. So I
think it's always important to have an encourager in your life, and wherever you can get it from, whether it's a friend, whether it's a vendor, whether it's like, you know, even your child sometimes, in my case, you know, he goes up to me, Mom, you look so pretty. I'm like, you know what, sometimes I needed that today.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Like, speaking of encouragers and love and like all of the good feels, what does agape mean?
So agape is actually a biblical term. It's also a Greek term, but it actually just kind of exemplifies the love of God, basically, and all that that entails. And that's just such a big, wide, overwhelming love. And for me, love can also bring joy, and of course, love can also bring hurt. But in my case, I want to take Agape Balloons and Events and just spew joy from it, and hope that everyone that has a setup with me and does a balloon arch with me, no matter how small or how big, can just have that moment of joy, and everything that's going on in that party that day. Like you can look over and be like, I'm just so happy today. And I think balloons does that to you. I think it does. I think whenever you have something and you're just in a room and there's nothing there, you're like, I want to decorate. We'll go to a Dollar Tree or a Party City, and we try to do things, and I'm like, okay, well, we're missing something. Like, we're missing. And I think for me, that was balloons. And that was just in the matter of like putting it together, putting it up there, seeing it all come together, and it's just like a masterpiece to me. It's like it's an art, and I fell in love with it, and I hope that others did too, just from what I was able to do for them.
So let's go back like 5-10 years ago in your life. Did you ever consider yourself to be like a creative, an artist, an entrepreneur? Like, how did you start Agape and balloons? Like, a lot of people can look at a space and be like, we need balloons, we need this, we need that. And then they don't do it, or they don't know how to do it, or they don't even know where to start. Like, what was it for you that you're like, gosh dang it, I'm gonna start this if no one else will?
Well, I never saw myself doing this. I had a plan. I wanted to go to med school. I have a science degree, nothing to do with this. And then, one day, I was going through a really hard time in my life, and so was my mom. And we kind of just looked at each other and we're like, I think we had recently done some kind of party together, and we're like, we really do love this. And my mom's always done this. She's been doing this stuff at church all her life, ever since I was a little kid. My mom always threw me the best parties, whether we had $10 in our pocket or, we had more money that year. For some reason, she was able to, she always just go to Dollar Tree. She'll even every single party favor of mine was custom, because she would sit there for hours and hours just making every single thing, it's just every detail to make that the party of a lifetime for me. And I didn't always have that many friends growing up, but I always knew that we always went on a trip. My mom always made my birthdays so special. And then because of her, really, we kind of got together that when we were both kind of feeling low, we were like, we need to do something. And we love this. And I'm like, why not? I was like, you know what? Everything I planned has gone out the door. So why not be spontaneous and try something? And that's what we did. I was like, you know what, Mom? What do you think our name should be? I'm gonna make an LLC right now. I looked it up. I was like, LLC, here we go. Put it on the computer. My mom, she came up with the name Agape, and I was like, all right, done. We have one, Mom. It's LLC, Agape Decor and Events. What do you think? And she's like, wait, like that? And I was like, yep, we just started a business. What are we doing? I have no idea. And she started making these, my mom actually kind of started doing this balloon stuff and just little things. And all of a sudden we started watching videos, and then we took courses, and then we started doing things. And then then COVID hit, of course, and during the pandemic, we were kind of like, oh, well, all these skills we just learned is kind of for naught, right? And we were wrong. We started doing balloon bouquets that we kind of create sculptures out of balloons that did not require helium, did not require anything, and we just dropped those at the door. People can come pick it up from our door. It was no contact, no nothing, and that's how we kind of started. And then from there, we just, events started coming back up again, and we started doing more things and more balloons, and I grew with my business. My skills grew with my business, and it's never thought I would be here today.
Yeah. And how many years has it been?
I think it's been a good 4 now.
Wow. Okay, cool.
4. Not very long, but it's just enough.
A lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Enough to have
I always tell people, it's legally 4.
Yeah.
Unlegally, my mom is she's always been so great at all of this. And, I wish she was here with us today, but she is always, I would never thought I was creative. I always thought I was, she would have the vision and I just kind of make it, because I was really good. I've always been really good with my hands. And one of the days, she always used to tell me, she goes, Leticia, you're creative. You're so creative. You're so creative. She just kept pouring that into me. And one of these days, I kind of I don't know, I think I started believing it a little bit. And sometimes I think that's all it takes, is someone's pouring into you. You have this little seed and it kind of just grows, and then one day you're like, I guess I can believe I'm creative.
Yeah.
And here I am having ideas in my head. My mom always used to look at something, she'd have a grand idea of what everything should be. And I look at it and I was like, what? It's like a white space. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And now I see it. Now
Yeah.
I can look through and I can create something out of nothing. And I'm sitting here, I was like, I never thought of myself that way.
Right. And so much of what you do Bill and I have talked about you a lot in what you do, because I feel like you show up at blank canvases, and the next thing you know, there's balloons and decorations everywhere, and it's like bright and colorful and fun, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Like, you take a white tent and you make it really cool to be in. Big letters are bright and everything. So like, how do you scale that? Like, how are you hiring a team who can also, like, how are you training them to also come into a space and then do it themselves, so that you can have 4, 5, 6, even 10 events in a weekend? Like, and we're talking about, the present things you're learning, not just like, you know, where you want to be, but like how you're currently navigating all that.
Yeah, I think, that's always been something really difficult to me, because especially during this time, people come and go. They come and go so quickly that sometimes I'm like, I just taught you everything, don't leave me.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes circumstances, they don't allow people to stay here. Like, I had one girl, she worked with me, and unfortunately she had to go back to her country. And, she was forced to leave. She wasn't necessarily, didn't want to. And, I poured a lot into her in showing it, and she can now put something together on her own. And I was like, go start something where you are.
Aww.
I was like, maybe you can do an Agape branch out there, Because I feel like it's, like, don't get me wrong, I am not the great at delegating. I'm still a work in progress with that. But what I do is I go ahead and I create this Canva. I love Canva. I think it's a great app. I use it for creating all of my events. And because I'm not so much of I'm a very visual person, so I can't necessarily just like come up with things in my head too much. I have to see it all, and then I can change it, and I can move and maneuver it all on Canva, which is so nice. And once that's done, I go ahead and I show people. I was like, okay, well, we have this panel, we have this, we have this. So I put it all on the Canva. I'm like, all right, now you see how this picture looks? I just want it to look exactly like that picture. And it's always my goal. You see what the Canva looks like? Unless we're doing some tweaking because we need something else, it should look almost identical to this. And that really helps my team, because they know what the final result should look like. And with how I kind of put balloons on there, and so every so often, like, it's very feasible. Nothing there that I do on the Canva is impossible to do. So I expect everyone that's working with me to do so. Like, my sister, she comes and works with me, and she's grown so much. She, from not knowing how to put a balloon together to creating full garlands that are ready to go, like, she has been able to look at my canvas that I create and go do an entire party on her own. She knows exactly what's on there. Now, am I bad at writing down every detail? Yes. Luckily, my mother and my sister, they'll call me like, hey, what is this? What do we need for this party? Let's create a timeline. They're the ones that keep my organizing in check, because not always the greatest. But they keep my organizing in check. And they're like, what do you need for this? What do you need for this? Do we need a sandbag for this? Yes. Do you need this for this? Yes. Do we need flowers on the balloons? Do we have the flowers? Are they coming from a different vendor? Yes and yes. And we're able to kind of bring all of that together, honestly, because of their support as well. We're able to share that with the team. And then I always love having a breakdown team, and those are typically people who are kind of newer or don't really know what they're doing yet. And they're great. Sometimes you just need muscle. And I think that's great, because, they might not be able to put a balloon garland together, but do you think I want to go back to that event after it ends and tear everything down at night? After I just did like 3 events in a row, I'm exhausted. So it's nice that they can see the Canva, they know what's part of our thing, and take it apart.
I love that, and it's really true. I think that's a big thing that we're trying to focus on this year too, is like, how can we share more, giving our team what they want to do, and then also we're doing what we want to do. Because the past year, it was kind of like a big rebranding and trying discovery of what do we want to be. And we were doing a lot of it ourselves, and then it kind of just hit a wall in November where we were like, we're growing really fast from this, but we cannot continue to sustain growing unless if we have people on our team who are like excited and fun and they
I remember
get to
that
do what
call
they
with
want.
you.
Yeah, because it's really exciting, but then if you start feeling yourself, if you're doing it all, you start feeling yourself change, and then suddenly it's going from being fun to like being tiring. So then it's sad because you're not looking forward to your events, and it can be hard.
Exactly. I want to always be able to enjoy what I'm doing, and I feel like you know, you can get burnt out so quickly if you don't have help and you don't bring others and you don't allow people into your space. Because it's like, even sometimes mom's like, I don't know about this person. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because at this point, we just need help. We need
Yeah.
people to come in and assist us, because I want to spend time with my son too.
Yeah.
I want to spend time with my family. Mom was like, oh, you never come over, you just come over for work now. And I was like, well, I want to come over to have dinner, but we need someone else taking care of the event so that I can go and do that, because without it, I'm there, and I'll be there all day.
Yeah.
All day. It's possible to get me away from an event once it starts sometimes too, because I'll chat all day.
Yeah, that's true. You're always talking to people. And then another fun thing about getting to work with you is that sometimes you have a little helper, and he's like everyone's little helper. So do you want to talk about that real quick? Because I think when I'm a parent, I think it's really beautiful that like they can come and watch and learn from you. So.
You know, I think some people find it weird that I bring my son with me on everything, and they're like, you know, why don't you just get a babysitter, or why don't you just do this, or, you know, don't just, someone else can take care of him. I was like, well, I probably could, but I don't know, I grew to love having him with me all the time. And it was really hard once he went to school, because now I'm like, okay, I drop him off and then I have to go pick him up. And I loved when he was with me, because he's like a helper. And now as he's growing older, he's gonna be 4 now on Sunday. As he's growing older, I'm like, he goes, okay, mommy, let's go. I'm like, oh, what are we doing? He's like, I'm gonna grab this and you do that. Okay, let's do this thing. And then he'll go and he'll try blowing up the balloons for me, and he doesn't know how to tie, so it just goes everywhere. But I wouldn't trade that help for the world now. It's like, he's like, you know, if I could have a Agape mascot, it's my son. Like, he's he's the cutest thing. And then I probably have way too many videos of him like in balloons somehow. Everyone's like, oh, so now whenever I go to a store or something, they always want to give Theo a balloon or something like that. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, but save it for the next person, because I'm literally a balloon artist and I have so many balloons at home. So just give it to the next one, all right? I appreciated that so much. But because he loves balloons too. Sometimes he'll go, Mommy, it's so loud. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you still want to lay here with me while I'm making these? He goes, yeah. Aww. He'll just cuddle with me, and I'm making balloons as he's cuddling with me, you know?
I could see.
It's a thing.
I could see a little logo of a little boy holding balloons. That'd be cute.
Yeah, really cute.
That'd be really cute.
As long as it's my son, because he's adorable.
Yeah. And like another thing I want to talk about too that's really unique about Agape is I love that one time we were talking and I was saying how we were growing in weddings, and you were like, I don't know that I like care for weddings as much, because like what I love is birthday parties. You're like, I really love children's birthday parties. And I love graduation parties. And you started telling me about like all these other types of events that I'm like, yeah, all of those do exist. And yeah, they really need event people. So like, how did you kind of find the area that you wanted to be working in and you wanted to be doing balloons in especially?
Yeah, I think I felt that when I first started, no one really thought about a lot of balloons and weddings. So for me, I felt like it was really hard to push into that, especially because floral was such a big impacted thing at that moment. Like, they never even thought about, oh, balloons childish and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I wish I could help be a part of this group that is in there. Because there's a couple other companies out there that are doing just amazing work with balloons as well here in Michigan. And he's like, I wish I could be a part of that group and show people that balloons can be so much more than just the average kid party. Believe me, I love my kid parties. Themes for me are like, you know, I have one friend, she loves calling me the theme queen.
Yeah.
So Lindsay from Vibrant Vintage Rentals, she calls me the theme queen, and I love her to death because she's right. If you look at my storage units and all my stuff, everything is themes. And not that I don't love themes, I do, but I would love to also show how, you know, a balloon can be for a 30th birthday or a 50th birthday, or like your baby showers. And I honestly love seeing, like, sometimes I was able to do that person's baby shower, and then that baby turned 1 year old, and I got to do their birthday, and then I got to do their second birthday. And I haven't got to do the third birthday yet, but I have a couple clients that I've just been able to watch their kids basically grow with balloons. And that for me, it's like, could I have started at their wedding? Probably, but you know, even starting at their baby shower, I just got to be a part of life.
Yeah.
And I found that really amazing, especially with this. I was like, wait, I can implement, and that's where I was kind of like, I work with some wedding planners, and typically I'm just like, man, weddings are such a, you know, like a long, you just have to be there so long, and time frames are so short.
Yeah.
I like being able to have the ability to have time to create and time to do details. I'll tell everyone, oh, if you're giving me an hour to set up, I'm just letting you know right now, it takes almost a half hour just to unload. And with that, I won't be able to do as many details as I want to.
Right.
Because you can't. You overlook details when you are trying to rush and get things done just for people to come in. And I was like, I need a 2 hour minimum.
Yeah.
You know? If it's something small, like just a panel with a balloon on the side, that's fine. An hour is fine. But like anything above that, it's like, I want things to look the quality that we want, like I want Agape to be known for. And for that to happen, we need a little bit more time. Like, I can't tell you how many Instagram posts I have or pictures I have that I never posted on Instagram because I don't think it's up to my quality because I was so quick and I didn't have time. And I'm like, how do I do this so fast? And I'm like, I just want to be able to always be known to have that quality and just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, similar to having enough time, I know that you also have, like, there's certain budgets. I'm just going to go there. There's certain budgets you need too to be able to be at that quality that you want to represent yourself as well, because we have had a mutual client and, you know, they asked you for a lot and then they kind of were like, well, you know, here's our budget. And you were just like, I'm sorry, but for this project, I need my minimum to be this. And then you stuck with your gut on that because you were like, I'm not delivering you less than this. And I'd rather not work with you than lower my budget. And, you know, that worked. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll honor that budget. And I'm grateful it happened because the event was phenomenal. But even with budget, like, do you want to talk about some of the things that outside of just the day of decoration that go into like your cost and all that you do?
Yeah, I think budgeting for me has always been difficult because I want to give everything. I want to give someone everything. I want you to have the perfect party. So I will do everything I need to get there. However, that doesn't always look as budget friendly as it may seem. Have I had to keep upping my budget a little bit every year? Absolutely, because I've realized my worth and I've realized how much things are worth. And then if you mix both and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I have to be above this range at all times in order for me to do that. And so now, unless someone wants to come pick things up, which now I allow everyone to come, you can come pick up whatever you want. You want to pick up a board, you want to pick up balloons, set it all up yourself, fine, do it. However, I was like, for me to come out, physically come out and do this event for you, I know now that I can only do it for this minimum amount of money. Like, I can't do anything less than this, or it's not going to come out right. It's not going to look right, and I'm not going to have enough time. And I'm like, if it's not doing that, I'm better off being at home with my husband and my son and spending time with them. Because that's what happens. And then before, I used to do a ton of things. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll lower the budget. No worries. Now it's like, I don't want to negotiate anymore. I realize what I'm worth now. And did it take me a while? Yeah, it was a complete learning process. But I realized, like, you know, one, these things don't come cheap. Two, I got to paint all these. And then I got to put balloons and I got to make them. And it takes me hours to do that. And, you know, my garage right now, I have 6 panels that I'm currently painting. And I have to paint each of those all separate colors. Luckily, it's for my son's birthday. But, you know, for those, you give a little extra time. But even so, you need to be able to, like, I don't know. I think it's just so important.
So it's not just your garage. It's your garage, 2 other storage units, a U-Haul. Like, think about how every time someone requests something custom for their event, you order all of it.
Oh yeah, I have to. So everything that comes together with that backdrop display, and sometimes I'll add in some other decorations as well, but everything that we need for that backdrop display, I need to know the paint color or this, or what the panel's going, or what kind of decorations. Are we putting florals on there? You know, what do I need to hook it up to? Do we have something to hook it up to? If not, I need some kind of hooking structure, or I need to bring an extra pole, or something like that. Because if I'm not, a lot of venues don't allow us to put anything on the walls. In which case, you can't just order a balloon garland from me and expect me to put it on the wall. The venues don't, we can't do that. In which case, I have to bring in a structure that keeps it away from the wall, which is harder than people think.
Yeah.
You know, you got to place it all on there.
Right.
But then that takes more time, location, effort, and then just the truck. Because something like, you know, like this with just a balloon garland over it, yeah, I could fit that in my van, no problem. However, if we're going to be doing all of these panels, or I need to just do the pole, the extra pole for the thing, that doesn't actually fit in my vehicle. I need to rent out a U-Haul. And I do that in the meantime because, one, it helps with insurance. I don't have to worry about, you know, a car insurance, a car breaking down and stuff like that. Do I like that I spend so much money on U-Hauls every month? No. I wish I could have my own vehicle, but I also know that with having your own vehicle comes a lot of ownership things as well. You need to keep up with, you know, all the mechanicals of it, and typically it's really hard to buy a new 15-foot truck.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. And then if something happens to it, you know, you got to fix that, and that's all comes out of your pocket. And in the meantime, you know, the U-Hauls work absolutely fine, and I just have to make sure to budget that into their budget.
And so, as we're talking about budgets too, we have been able to do a couple of really like bigger projects together, like Stevie Nicks and you know, the 313 Fox like extravaganza Christmas, and then grad parties. So
Yeah.
it's like budgets from grad parties all the way to huge, I don't know, like big events with tons of people. But when it comes to those, like, and you're working with other vendors, how do you get to bring all of your friends together and kind of like make this event where everyone gets a piece of the fun, and then we're also delivering a great experience? Like, how do you kind of get to talk to clients about all that? Or is it more of like they come to you, or, you know, other planners with ideas, and then you guys plan together, oh, we need this person, this person, this person? Like, how does that work for you?
Basically, I think that a lot of that comes with, so let's say a client comes to me. They'll ask, sometimes, because I am decor and events, like that was the original name before we changed it to balloon and events. Everyone thought that we did the entire planning. Half the time, people don't even know I did balloons. And I was like, that's got to change.
Yeah.
But, you know, most of the time, people just thought I was like the planner, in which case I sometimes did. I did plan a lot of, especially the smaller things, you know, and brought that together. And then I have the privilege of working with some other great event planners, like, you know, Christina Click & Co. She does mainly wedding planning, but she's been able to venture into some of the social events
And corporate.
Yeah. And then she's even, you know, she's brought me into her things, and like, you know, she'll call me. She's the type of person that she wakes up super early. I wake up early. I'm like her call at 7 a.m. And we always laugh about it. They're like, yeah, you're my 7 a.m. phone call every morning. And so she'll call me and we'll talk about these events, and we'll talk about, oh, well, what if we bring this person in? Oh, you know what? You need to call Mammoth because we need to convince them to have this photo booth here because it's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Like, this event's just going to be completely interactive if we're able to bring this in. So why don't we do that? And then I'm like, oh, you know what? We need bright letters. We need those like big marquee letters. Let's call Bright Letters Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, we need, it's a kind of a boho. Like for Stevie Nicks, she was like, oh, it's kind of like this dark midnight boho vibe. And she's like, what if we did something like that? And I was like, we got to call Lindsay, Vibrant Vintage Rentals. And Christina, she's always funny because she's always like, how do you know all these people? I was like, I don't know.
4 years.
You know,
4 years of experience.
You know, and it's funny because we're in two different industries. Like, she's mainly wedding, and I'm all this other social events. And I've just been able to, she has amazing vendors that come with her. Like, I don't know where she gets these DJs half the time, and they're always amazing. But that's because she works primarily with them as a wedding decorator and a wedding planner. And, you know, I have people like, you know, that have random things. Like, oh, I need a pink couch. Oh, okay. We'll call this person with a pink couch. I need this beautiful big arch that no one else made except for this one. I was like, okay, Morgan Taylor at Events. She's got it. Let's go get it. So I think just bringing everyone together for me, that's what makes me happy. I think bringing all our vendors together and just making a grand party, because why not?
Yeah. It makes the event so much more fun. That's my favorite thing, is like when I get a call from you or Christina and you're telling me about the event, and then like we're using names. We're not using business names. You're telling me, oh, and Lindsay's gonna be there.
Yeah,
and we're
it's
inviting like Kat, you know, with Time and Honey. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Time and Honey, I'm gonna eat their food.
Oh my gosh. I literally, every time they come, I'm just like, if it wasn't a professional event, I'd be like diving into this.
Okay, well at Christina's, I did dive into it.
Luckily, we were guests on that one, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I just want to eat all of this stuff.
Right.
Like, Thyme and Honey is amazing. I'm so proud of her and her growth and all they're achieving right now too. And like, I think all of these people that we just kind of met throughout the years, like I said, why not be your friend?
Yeah. Oh, and our biggest thing too is like, we don't want to do all the work. And so we've been getting asked way more about custom backdrops, and I'm like, good thing I already have a friend who does them, because
your mind just pops and you remember, you're like, this person does this, so why not work with them? Let's do it.
When I started working with Bill, I was just like, Bill, like, here's the deal. Everyone in California has these custom backdrops and they do all these things. And his response, pretty candid, was just like, well, it takes too much time. It costs a lot of money, and then you have to store all the equipment. And he's like, so for now, and this was 2 years ago, he said, for now, it just doesn't logistically make any sense for us. Then you come into our life this year, and we're going to all these events, you have these huge backdrops, and I'm like, I want to use all of them. And then like, you're throwing parties that like we're not at, and I'm like, dang, I wish we were there. And I'm like, again, I'm still following all these California accounts, and they're doing it. And I'm just like, it's essential that we have custom backdrops, and it's essential that I get to work more with you. And I didn't just manifest that last year, but I was extremely intentional with like marketing, to the point that like clients were also like, wait, why does your Instagram have all these backdrops that you don't have? And I was like, well, because people hire Agape and they hire like their event planners to like build these out, and we don't actually make them, because ours are like, just like drape fabric.
Yeah,
and
why not?
They understand that, because that is what most other photo booth companies come with. But now I just can't wait to start delivering an experience where it's like, people can call me up, ask for a custom backdrop, and like I can call you up and be like, okay, so like, what do you think?
What do you think we should do? Let's figure something out.
And so I'm just really grateful. I'm excited
for our brainstorming sessions.
Yeah,
I'm excited for those coming up.
A lot more to come. And, again, with costs, it's like, that's going to cost more than some fabric. But it's because you're paying, a team of people to think about it, design it, buy the materials, come and set them up. Like, we did order a few new, like, huge backdrops from Rose Morning. Those almost weigh 100 pounds. Like,
they're really heavy.
It's going to take a U-Haul to transport them. They weigh almost 100 pounds. Like, so those are going to cost between $500 to $750 just because of what they are. But you can go down the road to Detroit Floral Wall, which they sell those. That's their whole business. You're still going to pay that much money. So it's like, you can get one with a photo booth, or you can get one from there, and it's like, there's no right or wrong. It's really just, the price is the price, because they're so heavy and they're a lot of work, and they do cost a lot to buy.
Well, and you have to go there, set it all up, and then come back later and tear it all down.
Right.
And that's all time consuming and taking everything away.
Yeah.
So you guys have to pay what you're worth, and I firmly believe that.
Yeah, well, I'm just so grateful for you. I can't wait to keep working with you more, and thanks for being on my first episode, because like I was an anxious mess before this, because it's a lot to think about. How do I portray everything I love about this industry, the people in it, and like, still letting our customers know like how much they mean to us. If I could put all of my like brain and my life into one show, I hope it's this. And so for you to get to be my first person, like, I'm very grateful, just because you're easy to talk to. I was just more scared that it was going to end up being like 4 hours, because I was like, how are we going to stop talking?
I know. It's not, it's not, it won't get past us for sure.
But with that being said, I'm going to interview Leticia probably like all the time. So this is just your first time meeting her. You're going to get to know her a lot more. And yeah, I can't wait to see what this year and the rest of our lives have in store for us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I really am. I think this is so amazing, and I can't wait to see you grow.
Thank you.
Really.
Let's hug.
Okay.
I love you. Okay. Now, Bill, do you want us to walk off?